Welcome to the Development Tank, brought to you by ReadyBuild, the best value in knockdown rebuild and dual occupancy projects in the market. I'm inside one of our ReadyBuild display homes where quality meets affordability. If you're planning a project anywhere in Australia, talk to me first. Scan the QR code or hit the link to book a free call. We'll beat the competition on price, service and value, guaranteed. If you're going to build, you're crazy not to build with ReadyBuild. Let's get into the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Development Tank. We're here at 151 Oakley Road. As you guys know, the ones that have been following along, we sold next door for a record townhouse figure in Carnegie. Now the next one's on the market. We gave it a rest, now we're back. It's furnished, but we're keen today, we've got Claire here to go through how to elevate your spaces and make sure that you really create those moments for that finished product. So when people come through to buy it, you're really creating a product that people can fall in love with and feel those moments inside. So let's get into it, let's go through it. So Claire, this is the first area we want to touch on. You guys have done a great job in making it so open and spacious. Do you want to talk us through the advantages of doing it like this?
So first area that you enter, I guess, as a potential purchaser, the door's open. If you can imagine going to an open, the door's left open. This is sort of your congregation area. What you don't want to do is close that space in. You don't want to come into a townhouse and feel like you are tight. Automatically, what a large area does, it makes you think this is a family home, which it is, but it doesn't give the illusion that it's not.
Yeah, correct. I think like a space there, depending on who's designing it, might see that as a sort of study nook or something like that. So suddenly you're enclosed. And like you said, you're not feeling quite spacious, but this is an entrance of a size that would be fit for a house, you know, a big home. So yeah, so don't get greedy. Be happy with your space, and when you get to the end, purchasers or you being a homeowner, you know, you'll be glad that you left it sort of open and spacious.
Yeah, absolutely. Another point, talking about entrances, my pet hate is walking in and seeing a garage door over to the left. Yeah. Again, sometimes unavoidable, but in this instance, we have designed it, or we've had the space to be able to design it. We've actually added in a wall here and added in a mud room. So first of all, we hide the garage door entrance, which is great. They always get dirty. Kids kick them, someone kicks them. They're always grubby. But we've also added in so much more storage for coats, jackets, your bags, your shoes, everything. And it's all tucked away from your entrance.
Yeah, love it. I think any family coming through and keeping this your drop zone, obviously which it's designed to do, is fantastic. But I think the reason you're able to do a really great feature like this is because you haven't got greedy with the front area and putting a study and creating a real rabbit warren there. So yeah, I think a great aspect. And the thing is, the garage door really reminds you of being in a townhouse and having only 7 metres of frontage. So not being reminded that your garage door is right there, I think is a good aspect.
It's going back to that luxury family home where you walk in and have this grand entrance, and like you just said, you're not reminded that the garage is right there.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, as you know, and as we've said in earlier episodes, Oakley Road, we're only a 15-something metre frontage. So Glen Eyrie, you are able to go more so boundary to boundary, but you're only 7.5 metres of frontage. So you're not massive, and walking into this place and this area and the natural light that's pouring down these stairs, I'm feeling like it's luxurious, it's roomy, it's large. So yeah, a great combination and great use of space at the front here.
And if you don't have the luxury of adding in a mudroom to house that door from the garage, what we do tend to do is we will build out the wall from the garage, say 150, 100 mil, just to hide the visual impact that you've got of the door and the architrave.
Okay, yeah, so do you want to talk me through that? Is that, so you mean like a fake wall?
Exactly. So if we move over to here, if we had the garage door, say here, you've got your entrance, we would build out this wall in front of it. So your first visual eyesight, usually it's a little bit further back, isn't that door, architrave, dirty kicker at the bottom, all of that. It just gives that impact that you can't see it.
All right, Claire, well, let's check out the kitchen where your next area of interest is. Claire, so we're talking about our next item where for not a great deal of money, we can create another moment, another opportunity to create these great shots, but the way people live, they get to see them and enjoy them every day. So do you want to take us through this next item over in the pantry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think an important thing to remember when you're going through the interior stage and designing is often, which I like to remind myself, is think about your end photographs that you're going to do and think what would be a beautiful shot. Have a look at, real estate, Pinterest, Instagram of properties that you love and look at the way that they're shot, and then think about how can I create that photo, because that helps you think about how it's going to be styled, how it's going to be used, and how it's going to come up and present to the potential buyer. Yeah,
correct. And if you've created a great shot, that's the shot that the end user gets to look at every day and see that shot every day in real life. So
exactly.
Great bit of insight there. So what have we created here?
So what we've done here, which is probably a cost saving along the way, while it is, we've actually removed the door here. So a cavity slider, taken that all the way up to the ceiling. So automatically from back in the living, you're creating a sense of height and largeness to this area. It's a door you'd probably never shut anyway. And if you did, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about the door handle, the door's dirty. Cavity sliders, I don't love them anyway. They never close properly. So automatically this space feels large, but then behind what we've done is saved on the cavity slider, but put some money into making this pantry look beautiful. And again, that's going back to that shot of the timber shelves, the feature tiles, the stone and the handles.
Yeah, correct. I think it's an opportunity, like you said, and if you're putting a standard cavity slider in, you might have a header above, so suddenly you're losing that height and that, like you say, that size element. But that's a fantastic shot, and people love to show off the assets of their homes, and that is an asset. And when you're in townhouses, you've got to grab these opportunities. So, and that is a shot. It's one of your favourite shots of this property. So, yeah, it's an opportunity for when you're down in your lounge, when you're in your dining, you can sort of see back to the pantry and the fact that it's a feature.
That's a really good point that you just brought up about having that header and the cavity slider. Automatically, if you don't remove that cavity slider and open it, you're spending money in two spots. You've got the cavity slider and the plasterboard and paint, and then you've put these feature tiles and shelving. Whereas you're better off with a cavity slider, just keep a basic pantry. Don't spend money twice if you don't need to.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I definitely love remove the cavity slider and make it a feature. But if you're not spending much money behind and you're really set on the cavity slider, like you say, one or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Claire, so we've got another feature here. Like you say, not a great deal of money, and you could spend a lot more money with this feature, but it's a feature all the same, but not breaking the bank. Do you want to talk us through it?
I think we brought this feature up when we had Beck from Build Her, but now we've got it here in the flesh so we can have a look at it.
Okay.
So often when we do an island bench, my favourite feature of the kitchen, to dress it up rather than just having a joinery panel at the back. We'll either do stone finish, but if stone doesn't, I guess the budget doesn't permit, or sometimes the stone is quite dramatic that it could be too much, we go with a feature tile and a curve around this side, which is not huge money. We've got the same tiles in the pantry, so again, these two are talking to each other, and then again, a hero shot for you. But don't try and curve stone, as Beck would say. Don't try and force a material to do something it doesn't naturally do. But I think everyone who has come through here has always said, I love that. I love that curve, and it's not breaking the bank.
No, for sure, and I think we've got the laminate to the the larger side of it, just to match the laminate, but everyone's eyes are focused on the tiles and that curve. And like you said, to curve tiles, not that big of a deal. The substrate behind it's fine. Like you say, you start to create curves with stone, which we've all seen on Pinterest boards and you know, inspiration and all that sort of stuff. So to do it here is a cheaper way to still create that high-end spec.
The wow factor that people come into homes and they spend a lot of their time in the kitchen. So automatically, like you said before, we're showing off the pantry to people who come off, and at the same time showing off your island bench.
Yeah, good one. Okay, Claire, so we're in the hallway. We've got another do's and don'ts, but this one's a good one. Like you were saying earlier, sometimes when it comes to value managing, it can be the first to go, but could be a mistake. Do you want to take us through that?
So joinery, we love full joinery at Little Fish, but we try and do it in an economical manner. So often in bedrooms, not so much the master, but say your kids' bedrooms or secondary bedrooms, we will peel back to painted MDF doors, depending on location, overall resale, where it is, etc. What you don't want to do, if you can avoid it, is peeling back your joinery in your hallway. So this is the feature that if you can keep it, it's one of those from the entrance to your kitchen. It's one of those things that everyone is touching, everyone is seeing. You've got feature handles, which are your timber. It's that wow factor again, that first, like we were talking about with the entrance, that first point of wow. People have thought about this is a family home. This is another area where, again, if you can avoid peeling back in this area, it's well worth it. I would do the bedrooms over the hallway.
I was about to say, it's a great point. Like if you've got 3 or 4 bedrooms, there's a lot of money to be saved in there if you do go to sliders, but it's not on show. Where here you've got the entrance right, you've got natural light coming down the stairwell. Now we're in here and people are touching these as they're walking past going, oh yeah, this has been considered. And then suddenly they're in the features that we just mentioned earlier. So to have a slider there would be an epic fail because for the sake of 4 doors,
2 million plus at home.
And a couple of handles. So, but it's amazing that when you go through that design process and you are looking to value manage things, the click of a button to say, hey, we're taking joinery to sliders, and then suddenly you get to the end product and you're concentrating on a lot of things and you're walking past going, we put sliders here, unbelievable. So bedrooms first, people love to showcase their home. Everything that's on show needs to be protected until it can't be, but it needs to be protected best possible.
Absolutely. It's a bit like the entrance downstairs, isn't it? You always try and land with the space.
100%. Like you come up and suddenly you've got space, you've got amazing natural light, massive retreat. And like we said, we don't always have the luxury of having it, but if you can make it work, that up here is actually a great usable space. Yeah, it's a win and it's a space people will use.
Yeah, often we'll always challenge designs, but when you put 4 beds upstairs and your second living down, which is not what we've done here, but we always try and ensure there's still some sort of landing. Like it's very easy to achieve this retreat space when you've got a master and 2 beds up here. It is more challenging with 4 beds, but it's something that if you can have some sort of landing where you don't walk up, it's exactly the same principles of walking into your home. Instead of feeling tight and claustrophobic, you want to have that same experience when you get upstairs.
Correct, and I think you can tell how light filled it is up here. That light drains and washes down that stairwell, and you can see that as soon as you walk in, and we actually have no skylights up here. So the light that's coming from here on a reasonable day here in Melbourne is washing down your stairs, and you're getting that light as soon as you walk in the front door. All right, Claire, we're at our last feature, 151A Oakley Road that we're going to tackle. We're in the master, amazingly light filled. We've got built-in robes, a great ensuite, balconies behind these curtains as well, looking over famous Packer Park. Talk to us about the shears. Now, the shears aren't on every window, but talk to me about why the shears are in this location.
So typically we don't furnish every window. We leave that up to the end purchaser or end buyer to do that. But what we do is, especially in, say, the master or the living, certain areas that warrant it, sometimes we've done it in retreats depending on how big the window is and what it's facing, but it's about giving the potential buyer an understanding of what they can do with the space and how they can live in it. It's the same reason we furnish homes. It's about getting them to know what they can do in it, ultimately. So here we've done shears, we've done floor to ceiling, wall to wall, which automatically makes this space feel larger. We haven't done blinds. Whoever does buy this will put blinds of some sort behind here to block out the light, but automatically it gives a really soft feeling to this space.
Yeah, I really like it. And like you said, it shows someone how they can live, and it shows them the moment. You know, this is another moment inside this house that without them, it would be quite hard, quite a hard stand sort of surface. But yeah, putting them in really softens the space.
It's what you just said. It's all just about creating those moments and giving that experience to someone walking through going, I can see myself living here. I understand what the end vision was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And this is what that does. So your styling, your shears, all those touch points is what that does.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. Putting the window furnishings through a whole house will really cost tens of thousands of dollars. So to pick your areas and pick your spots where you can lead the buyer and lead that homeowner, sort of say, hey, this is the vision, and then they can go and do the rest. I think's the right way to do it.
And cost lots of money, but also the end buyer might not want blinds, they might want Venetians, or they might want shutters. So it's also leaving that opportunity up for them. It's just giving them a taste of what it could be and how we would see this end space being used.
Okay, Claire, thanks for taking us through the second dwelling at Oakley Road here that's now for sale after the other one sold for a record. Hopefully it's another record. But something that we talk about a lot is obviously doing the two townhouses, the side by side, sometimes and often making and giving them their own identity. Can you talk us through the differences between the townhouses? Because I know for a fact the layouts are somewhat similar from a floor plan perspective, but how did you give them their own identity and how did you make them somewhat individual in nature?
So most of the time, like you just said, they will be the same floor plate, the same size. There's efficiencies in building when you do that. So it makes sense where you can for it to be the same in terms of volume or space. In terms of identities, what we've done here is our facades are slightly different. So what has sold was a lighter colour theme, I guess, for the facade, whereas we've got a concrete render up the top. So that's a little bit moodier, whereas internally in this unit, we've done quite a light scheme. So the vanillas and whites, whereas 151B that sold for the record was more of a mocha and taupe colour. Slightly different, but enough to create a substantial difference that a buyer feels like they have their own product. Because one thing when we're doing townhouses, we always try and create two different products so you're not buying the same product as your neighbour.
Yeah, I think that's super important. That's real estate 101 is supply and demand. You know, by default, doing multi-residential developments, you're creating a supply. So if you can give them their own identities and make them individual, essentially this townhouse, you are buying one of one. The buyer who bought next door, it is somewhat one of one with some similarities, but when they have tea parties and they catch up with each other, they will be different in nature. So, and it's really free to do. You know, you know, there's nothing in those things you mentioned that will drive price, but just takes a bit more effort and energy at that design stage.
And that's a good point. Don't go completely different to the point where the builder says this is a nightmare to price and build.
Yeah.
It's about the key differences like colour of joinery, tapware, still using the same suppliers where you can. So making it easy, maybe keep the same stone for both, but mix up everything else. But it is really important. On that note, the agent actually for both products, but as we were putting this on the market, he said, can we style it very different? That's going back again to creating that separate product, and difference is we want potential buyers to feel something different to what they walked through when 151B was on the market.
Yeah, nice work. So you've reeled off, I guess, lots of different little nuances that can be different and can create a different look and feel and sort of vibe in each dwelling, which is important. Thanks for coming on, Claire. Thanks for running us through all those different, not so much features that are going to cost a lot of money, just things to think of that have created a better product here as we walk through it, but just took a bit more time at the front end in that design stage to get it right, put the effort in, and no doubt we'll get the result here.
Yeah, you definitely see it when it's all done.
Yeah, nice work. See you on the next one.
Thanks.
That's it, guys. That's a wrap. Anyone that's going to get value out of that, please like, share, subscribe, share it with your friends. Comment below, what did you like? What did you agree with? What didn't you agree with? Happy developing.